Only 3 more steps to go. 3, 2, 1. Sophie! Oh man. Busted. Okay. So, it's because today at school I persuaded a friend to test out my skateboard. But come on. How was I supposed to know she'd end up breaking her leg? Oops. I called your dad, and he's arranging your school transfer. What? Ugh! Is anyone else's mom way over the top like mine? My dad's away on business trips a lot, so the majority of the time it's just me and her. But we're basically chalk and cheese. Everything I do seems to annoy her. Skateboarding or partying, even breathing, I suppose. Geez, doesn't she remember what being young was like? Or was she born this boring? Then whenever something happens, she always rings Dad and snitches on me. Ugh! Speak of the devil. Oh, hi, Dad.
Sophie, it's all sorted. You're transferring to Kings West High School next week.
But Dad, I don't want to move schools.
You brought it onto yourself, young lady. I have an old friend teaching there. I've told her to keep an eye on you. So, you better behave yourself.
Poof! He thought he could scare me? As if. I ain't afraid of some cranky teacher. So comes my first day at this place, and this teacher, friend of Dad's, Miss Janet Clark, wouldn't quit gawping at me, and she kept on calling on me to answer her stupid questions. No thanks. Ugh. I needed to liven this boring class up. So when the teacher briefly left the room, I immediately put Vaseline on the cap of her water bottle. It was so funny watching her failing to open it and ended up with a smudged hand. Then when she asked the class who was responsible, I grinned as I raised my hand. Another time, I put an air horn on her chair leg, so as soon as she sat down, there was an ear-splitting sound. It's as if she just farted.
Impressive. How do you think up such crazy pranks? You're even better than me.
Huh? I froze for a few seconds. Who was this handsome boy, and why hadn't I noticed him before? Turns out he's Dylan, and like me, he's prone to getting in trouble. We were talking to each other passionately when I felt a hand pat on my shoulder. It was Miss Clark. She led me into the corridor, and I expected her to shout at me, but surprisingly, she didn't get angry or anything. Instead, she asked if I was having a hard time. How odd. The next morning, I was about to enter the classroom when some popular girls stopped me. Who are you trying to impress? Better know your place, newbie.
She's just another plain Jane. What are you worried about, Rebecca? There's no way Dylan likes her.
Stay away from Dylan, else. Excuse me? This snooty girl just messed with the wrong person. And that's how we ended up pulling each other's hair until I managed to get a hold of her wrist and was about to give her a taste of my shoulder throw. Then Miss Clark intervened. The so-called Queen Bee quickly fled the scene. Then Miss Clark led me out to the schoolyard for a walk. She told me that this girl Rebecca was Dylan's ex-girlfriend. Oh, how pathetic. Our Becky has a crush on her ex. Then Miss Clark continued asking if I really felt okay, as she thought there must be some reason behind my rebellious behaviors. Just like that, my emotions got the better of me, and I blurted out how I hated moving schools, and the only good thing about this new place was Dylan. And could you believe it? She actually gave me some flirting tips to impress Dylan, and also told me to text her if I had any problems. Maybe I'd been wrong about Miss Clark. She was actually pretty cool, and I started talking to her pretty often. Then one day, I arrived home to see my bedroom door was ajar. I peeked inside and spotted Mom on my bed, iPad in hand, reading my diary on it. Mom, seriously, can you please give me some privacy?
Sophie, what's this about a downhill skating event? Do you want to die?
It's none of your business. Ugh, Mom was so controlling. She wouldn't let me wear the clothes I wanted or even fangirl over the idols I liked. Feeling so wronged, I called Miss Clark to let out this frustration. She was so understanding, saying how adults sometimes make mistakes too, and my mom was in the wrong this time. Then said I should sign up for the skating event, as I was young and therefore I should fight for my dreams. I wish Mom understood me like you do. You must be a wonderful mom. Your children are so lucky." She fell silent for a moment, then told me that as much as she wanted to be a mother, but she was divorced and had no kid. "Adopt me then. I'd rather be your daughter than my mom's." Then she gently smiled at me. Thanks to Miss Clark, my stuffy home life felt a bit better. While at school, thanks to her matchmaking, Dylan and I were now a couple. Yay! Rebecca thus gave me dirty looks all the time in class. But tough luck, sweetie. And our 1-month anniversary finally arrived. Today, Dylan's taking me out for sushi. Yum! But I'd only had one bite when a familiar figure rushed over. My mom glared at Dylan, then dragged me home. "Don't you ever talk to that awful boy again! You hear me? That kind of troublemaker is nothing but a bad influence. Cut ties with him ASAP." This was insane! But thankfully, Dylan overlooked my mom's craziness, and we continued dating secretly. But then one morning, I texted and called Dylan a bunch of times, but there was no reply. Was something wrong? We just had the best date last night, but now, nothing. I rushed to school, searching for Dylan, worriedly asking everyone if they had heard anything from him, when Rebecca suddenly approached me. "Dylan could have died thanks to you. Seems like you and your crazy mom are cut from the same cloth." Okay, so turns out that after Dylan dropped me off after our date, he ended up in an accident. Luckily, he wasn't hurt too bad, but he was convinced someone had tampered with his brakes while he made a quick stop at the 7-Eleven near my house. And, yep, that must have been my mom, since he also saw her leave the store. How could she do that? She's ruined my life! Dylan broke up with me right after that. No way was I staying anywhere near her, so I packed a bag and fled to the one place I felt safe. And here I am, at Miss Clark's house. Peace and quiet at last. Oh, what's this? She looked so pretty when she was young. I turned a few more pages, then... Huh? Why does this man resemble my dad? Then I saw a scribble. Janet, Bob, forever. Huh? It was my dad. So she wasn't just his old friend. She was his ex. A thought suddenly popped into my head. Could she be my real mom? Maybe Dad let me transfer to her school so we would be reunited. Oof, forgive me. I must have watched too many TV dramas. But honestly, how amazing would it be if she was my mom? My real mom was such a nightmare. I went to the kitchen to see Miss Clark preparing dinner and couldn't help but blurt out, "Mom?" She got extremely emotional, then pulled me in for a warm embrace and called me her daughter. Suddenly the phone rang. It was Dad. He told me to go home immediately or he'd stop my allowance. Miss Clark told me not to be worried and just go. But I had to show some attitude to let Mom know that I wouldn't back down easily. So from then on, as soon as I was home, I just went straight to my room without even looking at Mom. And also, every time she said anything annoying, I kept replying with, "What's wrong with you? My teacher told me to do so. Stop overreacting." And you know what happened next? Yep, Mom called Dad. Again. I reported it to Miss Clark, as usual, and she told me that if I wanted Dad to stop listening to Mom, I had to tell him she was having an affair. What? Wasn't that too much? Did Miss Clark still have feelings for my dad? Was she only being nice to me so she could worm her way back into his life? After that, I didn't talk to her as much, and tried to avoid her at school, just to be safe. But then one day after lessons, I found her waiting by my locker, looking all glum. She told me it was her birthday, but like every other time, she had no one to celebrate it with. If only you'd be by my side this year, my daughter. So I agreed to go for dinner with her, and then for convenience, I made reservations at Mom's restaurant. Maybe this wasn't such a bad idea. I mean, Miss Clark might be able to talk some sense into her, right? They could even actually get on. But as soon as Miss Clark walked in, Mom's face dropped. "Janet, what are you doing here? Our restaurant is fully booked.
Please leave."
The two argued back and forth for a while, and I couldn't stand it anymore. "Why are you so rude, Mom? She's my teacher." Mom then stormed off in a rage while Miss Clark and I just ignored her and carried on with our birthday plan. But as she was eating the baked lobster dish, she suddenly turned a funny color, then threw up. We took her to the emergency room, and the doctor said this was down to Ipecac, a vomit-inducing medicine. Who else is to blame? How could my mom be so cruel? "Sophie, I'm fine. I'm sure your mom meant no harm." Mom looked furious and rushed over to Miss Clark. I had to pull her back, and then I told her she didn't deserve to be my mom. She was speechless and burst into tears. But it was too late. I announced I would move out of the house and stay with Miss Clark instead. So I went home and packed straight away, then left. But Mom wouldn't quit following me that whole week. It's super annoying. So Miss Clark came up with a new idea. We should move somewhere where Mom wouldn't find us. Huh? Was it a bit too sudden? But this was the only way I could be rid of my freaky mom. So we moved to a little house in the suburbs. Miss Clark took good care of me and completed all of my school transfer procedures. The first few days were so much fun. We had a really good time together. However, I started to notice odd little things, such as she fed me pizza every single day. Pizza and pizza only. She also insisted I wear these worn old clothes and called me Dumpling? What a weird nickname. At first I just wondered why she did that, but then it started to bug me, so I asked her to stop. To my surprise, she started crying. Looks like I was stuck with this awful nickname. Things at home seemed off, and the new school was just as terrible. From the very first day, I again became the target of the mean girls. But one day, as they tried to stop me passing them, one of their faces suddenly turned pale. Huh? Isn't that Alice's gross old shirt?
Alice who?
You know, Alice. The Dumpling. She wore the exact same shirt with the word smart printed on it. I remember this vividly as I used to laugh at how brazen of that stupid girl for wearing a shirt saying smart. My God, even the trace of my cigarette butt on its flap? It's still there?
But she's dead.
Then they all looked at each other in fear and ran away. Huh? Chills ran down my spine. I didn't know who this Alice was, and I didn't want to. The only thing I knew was I needed to get out of this place immediately. So I rushed home to pack my things before Miss Clark got back from work, but it was too late. Dumpling? Where are you going? You have to stay with Mommy. Then she quickly locked the door, dragged me inside, and started acting like a psychopath. Eat up, my dumpling. Why are you so sad? It's seafood pizza, your favorite. I'm sorry I didn't let you eat it before, but now you can have it all you want. I'll buy this for you every day. Panicked, I didn't know how to hold out against this insane woman when someone kicked in the door. It was Dylan, followed by my parents.
Sophie, here you are, our baby.
Oh, thank good God. I pushed Janet away and ran straight to them. But how did they find me?
I decided to look into the case of my broken brake again, as a few days after the accident, I came back to that 7-Eleven, and a cashier asked me if my mum came home safely the other day, as she saw a woman claiming to be my mum struggling by my motorcycle, saying there's some problem with it. That sounded way too fishy, so I asked to check the store's CCTV footage. And the culprit was not your mum as we all thought, but her.
Huh? Why? She helped matchmake us. Why would she want to harm you?
I don't know. Maybe she wants everyone to misunderstand and blame your mother. Luckily, our phones have still been sharing locations ever since we were dating, so I found you in time.
Many thanks to you, Dylan. My father angrily looked at Miss Clark.
Janet, things between us ended decades ago. Please get a hold of yourself.
Poof! How ridiculous! Who do you think you are to assume this is about you? Dumpling is mine. She's my daughter, and she's staying with me. She broke down crying, and then admitted it all. From damaging Dylan's motorbike to putting Eminic medicine in her own food to fool people. I've tried everything. I can't believe it. How could a gentle person like her do such things? After the truth was revealed, everything gradually got back on track. I went back home, but still, my mind constantly wandering back to her and why she did it. Until one day, I came home from school and was surprised to see that woman sitting on the couch in our living room having a coffee with Mom. To be honest, I was a bit frightened at the sight of her, but she didn't look as unstable as before. It turned out that she'd just returned from a psychotherapy unit. She'd been suffering from her mental health since Alice, her daughter, passed away. Alice, aka Dumpling, was a stubborn teenager, just like me, and due to the strictness of her mum, she once left home in a temper and never came back, as she got in a terrible car accident that night. So, as soon as Miss Clark saw me, she subconsciously wanted to turn me into her daughter to fix her past mistakes. Sophie, I'm truly sorry for the pain I caused you. I let my grief consume me, and as a result, I refused to accept how dark a place I was in. Teenagers are complicated, but please try to be more open-minded and show them love the correct way. Sophie's a good kid, and I don't want you making the same mistakes I did. And so everything ended in a good way. Although my mom and I still sometimes argue, now we both know how to control it. I also learned to share things with her so that we became closer. And now, when she calls Dad, it's no longer to snitch on me, but it's to talk about how our days went. By the way, I don't have to go on secret dates anymore either. There's my Prince Charming. How many times have I told him not to rev up the engine?
Wow, this cake tastes like heaven. I reached out to grab another piece when I heard a growl behind me. I told you to be graceful, didn't I? Then Mom pulled me over to greet this smartly dressed couple. Ugh, again. They looked me up and down, then said, I heard that you're a gifted pianist. We would love to hear you play. Huh? Piano? I'd never played it before in my life. Before I could say a word, Mom chimed in. Unfortunately, Phoebe's just sprained her wrist. Maybe next time. I looked at her confused. Why would she lie like that? Jeez. Mom, why did you say that I could play the piano? Ah, yes. I may have bragged to them that all of my adopted children are excellent. What can I say? All moms boasted about their kids, right? And yep, I'd grown up in an orphanage before Mom welcomed me into her family. This place is pretty grand, huh? I found it overwhelming at first, and ended up getting lost trying to find my room. Luckily, there are plenty of my adoptive sisters around to show me where to go. I do have 10 of them. Yep, you heard me right. 10. It was as if I had just moved from one orphanage to another, only no more orphaned. And we're all similar ages, which is unusual, as foster parents often prefer younger kids. They said us teenagers are rather stubborn. Not to mention how my adoptive dad is never around. Seriously, I couldn't even tell you what he looks like. So it's just us girls here. I got on best with Collins. She's a couple of years older than me, and we share the same bedroom. As much as I liked living with Mom and my sisters, Mom did make us all do strange things, such as wear cheesy clothes and walk in a straight line. Worse still, she forced me to learn the piano. Ugh, I was not at all musical. I just made a right din. She also taught me how to eat properly, but it did kind of feel like a dog training session. I was only allowed to eat when she showed a signal, and by the time I could catch up with how to use the silverwares, the meal was already finished. Ugh. But I suppose that's how every mom teaches her daughter, right? And apparently, Mom didn't have the patience to coach me anymore. So she handed me over to Collins, her star daughter. We spent an hour every day talking together. Or rather, she gave me pointers on how to talk correctly. Collins said I needed to control my volume because I had a tendency to shout my words, and it wasn't very ladylike. I had to whisper at the same volume as her, and also choose my words carefully to show intelligence and grace. Ugh, maybe it'd be easier if I just didn't say anything at all from now on. Aside from Collins, I didn't have a chance to get to know my other sisters, as Mom made each of us pursue a different aptitude. Then we had to perform for her on our monthly assessment. Mom's overall very gentle and caring, but too strict when it comes to training. So we all have to spend a lot of time and effort in practice. One day I was trying to make sense of the music sheet when I heard Lexi complain, "Ugh, why does Mom force me on this Mission Impossible? So boring." What? At least ice skating is 1,000 times more fun than the piano. If only. An idea popped into my head. That night, I went to my mom and timidly said, "Mom, I want to switch from piano lessons to ice skating. I can exchange with Lexi. What? No. But why? Lexi doesn't even like ice skating. Well, it's because I can see potential in each one of you, so it's impossible to switch." Frustrated, I went back to my room and began whining to Collins, but she thought that it wasn't a big deal. Mom knows what's best for us. Well, that I'm not too sure about, yet we didn't even get to go to school. As Mom said, her homeschooling was enough. While I only found her method rather strange, I've dreamed of this perfect life with an amazing mom, but Mom was never very affectionate. It didn't matter how much we studied or tried to perfect our chosen hobby. She never cuddled or praised us, not even Collins, who's the smartest girl here. I was desperate to impress Mom, so one time I spent ages making this Portuguese appetizer for her, but all she did was take one bite and say it was okay. I asked her if she didn't like me, but she just replied in a growl tone that she was helping us to have a high position in society and a bright life. But I don't need those things. I just wanted her to like me. This place is so stuffy, and the only time that I can actually breathe is when I'm on my Friday morning bread buying errand. Ugh. Then suddenly someone patted me on my shoulder, which startled me so much I dropped my stuff. "Hey, it's really you. But is something wrong with you? Why the strange walk?" "The only thing I'm good at is buying bread, but now you've ruined it. See?" Jet stooped down to pick it up for me. He was still as rude as ever, but I still found myself jealous of this free spirit off him. We used to be a perfect match at our orphanage, and quite embarrassing to admit, but I was very naughty back then, and often shoplifted with him. "You could go steal some more. Remember our tricks?" I have to tell you 3 things. Firstly, I've been adopted. Secondly, my adoptive family is wealthy. And finally, I'm being educated to be a noble lady, so no more stealing. That's ridiculous. I also have 3 things for you. I've been adopted too. My parents love me so much. Oh, and they're cops. We looked at each other and burst out laughing. So we were both caught, weren't we? Jet and I sat down on a nearby bench to catch up, and when I poured my heart out about my new family, he interrupted me. "Sounds strange to me. Why would they only adopt teenage girls? And what are those training lessons and monthly evaluations for?" Then, Jet insisted that he would investigate my adoptive family. That's silly. But anyway, it's fun to reunite with a friend, and we agreed to hang out every Friday after that. And here comes my first assessment. Of course, I couldn't even play a simple melody, so I had to study for 3 more hours every day. My sisters suffered even more. Kinsley was forced to abstain from food because she weighed 2 kilograms more than the standard. In contrast, Willow had to eat continuously at night in order to gain 5 kilograms. If it's to this extent, then it must have not been simply for the sake of the casual boasting of a mom, right? On the next Bread Friday, I told Jet about last week's assessment. He firmly stated that there was a problem with my family. I don't think so, Jet. Mom just wants the best for us. Listen, Phoebe, I think she trained you guys on purpose. Each of you has to be good at a certain subject, just like the shopping orders. Orders? Don't go too far. You know Kobe beef? Cows are made to listen to music, given beer to drink, and massaged, but in the end, you know what the outcome is. Oh no. Is that what this is? Mom always said that she would give us the best life, as long as we worked hard. Were we being tested and stamped like those cows? One day, I came home to Collins excitedly packing her suitcase. Mom said she's taking me to a new school tomorrow. So Collins was leaving? But where? I'll miss you, sis. Text me when you get there? But days passed without a word from her. I asked Mom, and she said that Collins' hard work paid off, and she'd been accepted into a prestigious school, but they had a strict no phones rule. Huh, that sounded sus. So I told Jet, and he insisted I report the case. Another Friday. Jet and I met at a church near the bakery. Why did he choose this boring place? I was looking around when I saw a group of schoolgirls coming out of the church. They all wore the same dull uniform, had their hair neatly tied back in a bun, and all obediently lined up. Then there I saw her. Collins? I was about to rush over to greet her, but the glare of the woman accompanying her scared me off. This was not right. I'd got to ask Collins what was going on. So I grabbed Jet's arm and went after the group. But they got into a black car and sped away. Maybe they chose this church as a place for their transactions. Smart, huh? They put everyone in school uniforms so no one would suspect them. But seeing those faces, I'm sure they're about to be sent to the black market soon. Black market? The thought alone made me shudder. I had to save Collins. I couldn't let Mom get away with this. That night, I tiptoed downstairs to eavesdrop. Okay, I'll deliver her this weekend. Correct. She's 5'7". She can ice skate, cooking and painting. Of course, I have her trained as required. You won't be disappointed. So the deal goes as planned, okay? See you on Sunday. That's it. The next delivery was Lexi. I checked her room and saw her packing her stuff, a beam of innocent happiness on her face. I quickly texted Jet, and he immediately replied, "Just wait at home calmly. Don't act without thinking. I'll figure something out." That night, I couldn't sleep a wink. I was so terrified something terrible would happen to Lexi. So early the next morning, as soon as I saw Mom and Lexi getting in the car to leave, I snuck into the trunk, lay there without making any sound, and sent Jet the location. The car took a long time to stop. Had we finally arrived at the transaction location? When it seemed safe, I carefully climbed out and saw Mom talking to a fastidious-looking middle-aged woman. What did Mom say that made Lexi so panicked that she kept clutching Mom's hand? The woman handed Mom a rather thick envelope, then grabbed Lexi's hand and dragged her away. God, where was Jet? I couldn't just sit still like this and watch my sister being taken away. Let Lexi go! Now! Phoebe, what are you doing? Stop it. You're going to sell us, aren't you? I already know the truth. What on earth are you talking about, Phoebe? Furious, Mom pulled me away. Stop. Suddenly, 2 cops rushed in, ordering everyone to put their hands up. Behind them was Jet, still panting. Turns out they were Jet's adoptive parents. Help me! Mom is trying to sell me and my sister. Seeing that, the other woman quickly explained, No, there must be a misunderstanding here. I'm just helping Gianna's daughter to enroll at my school. Bewildered, my eyes darted from Mom to the other woman and then to Jet. In the principal's office, I told everyone why I thought my mom was a human trafficker. They all gasped in surprise. I made you practice that hard just because I want you to get in here, the most prestigious all-girls school, so that you can have a better life. I don't want to go to this school anymore, Mom. She told me all about the harsh rules. This place is terrifying. You can't force your kids to do that. You adopted them, so you have to make them feel safe and loved. Miss Gianna, this is a prestigious school, and it doesn't need your scandal. You led me to believe that your daughters were naturally gifted, which now transpires is all lies. I won't accept any child from your family from now on. No, they're my children. They deserve the best. Then she begged the principal to withdraw her decision, but she firmly shook her head. Suddenly, Mom shouted, Why? I just want them not to suffer like me, so what's wrong with that? Then Mom burst into tears. It turns out that in the past, Mom was in love with a politician, but he decided it would further his career if he chose to marry a graduate from this prestigious school instead. Mom loved him so much, she continued to be his mistress. But despite being fully provided for by him, Mom always felt that she was inferior to his official wife, especially when he proudly boasted about his smart wife and talented daughters. Then, when she wanted to start her own family, he wouldn't allow it. In the end, she decided to adopt girls and train them to become excellent so that they could enter this school regardless of their background. So that's the reason why she did this to us. I have to admit, I did feel a bit sorry for her. All of this was probably just to ease the pain of her past. But Mom, we don't want to go to this snooty school. We just want you to love us and protect us. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was only trying to help. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Then she hugged me. So, in the end, my sisters and I finally have a truly happy family. Mom doesn't make us do any dumb tasks anymore. Instead, she lets us pursue our own dreams and passions. Now we all go to a public school and live out our normal teen lives. It's wonderful finally having an amazing mom, incredible sisters, and my pretty awesome best friend, Jet, all by my side.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea, but people here call me Feifei. Please like and subscribe. My life was extra special because I had 2 home countries. Even though I was born in China, during our trip to America when I was 7, I got lost from my family. At first, I was really scared and lonely, but the more time I spent in the orphanage, the stronger and more independent I became. It seemed like this place was filled with my greatest childhood memories. Life went on just fine until I was 15. A miracle happened.
Feifei, Daddy finally found you!
I didn't fully understand how, but tears started streaming down my face. Dad didn't change one bit, but my mom had passed away. So I was introduced to my stepmom, May.
Our families finally reunited. Let's get back to China.
I sadly waved my friends goodbye and returned to my home country. We, the Li family, came from a long line of pottery makers, and this is the 5th generation. Dad said that before his grandparents took their last breath, their dying wish was to preserve the family craft. And as the only granddaughter of the family, I carried the noble responsibility of inheriting this pottery shop.
I believe in you. Make us proud.
While I was still processing everything, my parents already dragged me to my relative's house for a meet and greet. There must have been 20 people here, and I had to memorize all their names? Grandpa Zhu, Grandma Lian, Uncle Tang, and Aunt Hua? Luckily, I still remembered some simple phrases from my childhood and greeted them with my broken Chinese. Then, I heard them talking about a robbery at my house a couple days ago. Dad got a big order to polish 12 vases for the Ming Dynasty, but they were nowhere to be found all of a sudden. The customer wanted to press charges, causing a big trouble for our family. The police were involved, but since all cameras were smashed, it was impossible to find the culprit. The detective in me was woken up, so I ran to where my aunts were to eavesdrop. But before I could ask anything, Dad came and dragged me away.
It's none of your business, kiddo. Even if the police couldn't solve it yet. Focus on learning the trade.
A few days later, I started school, and boy, I thought I was smart, but Chinese characters defeated me. For crying out loud, those dancing letters and accents gave me a nightmare, and I was even reprimanded for using English in class. That's not all. Classes were followed immediately by ceramic lessons. Watching ceramic tutorials was fun, but practicing was a hard slap of reality. The more I practiced throwing clay, the more stupid shapes I created. Ugh, and there's clay all over my face and shirt. Clumsy me. Frustrated, I angrily yeeted a piece of clay across the room, then saw Dad glaring at me with his face darkened. Feifei just came here. She can't possibly learn that quickly. Give her some time. But Dad coldly dragged me to the ceramic gallery.
You know, pottery is about pouring souls into lifeless clay. Your great-grandfather used to make ceramics for the palace during the Qing dynasty. In wartime, the whole workshop was bombed, but your great-grandparents saved the most precious vases while fleeing the enemy till they died.
Dad's words made me realize how hasty and incompetent I was. I had to change. Then Dad introduced me to a guy.
This is Cody, my best apprentice, aka Pottery Prodigy. He'll be your teacher.
Cody's American, so communication was much easier. He's a great teacher who would always patiently fix my work to perfection, despite how many times I messed up. Cody's also friendly and easy to talk to. Some days our deep talks lasted until dawn. One time, while I was preparing the kiln, I accidentally found this half-burnt piece of paper in the corner. It looked not so normal because there was some handwriting that seemed important on it. I showed Cody and he said it could be a Chinese poem, but I couldn't figure out its meaning since most of it was lost. Dad said it was nonsense while my stepmom shook her head in confusion, but it somehow still bothered me. So I kept studying it for a few nights and I might have found a clue that could lead to the mysterious missing 12 vases. But that wasn't enough, so I decided to put it aside for now. Back to my daily routine. I was showered in my neighbors' and relatives' care. A bit too much. They always urged me to get married. When I was your age, I had 2 children already. But I'm not even 18 yet. Worse, they even sent some suitors to my house.
I've got a gift for you for our first meeting. This chicken lays a lot of eggs. If you marry me, your life will be full of roses. I only have one small request. My family wants many children, so we'll need to have 5 sons, 3 daughters, and a pair of twins.
They got me dizzy, so I sneaked out the back door to avoid running into another lunatic. The countryside sunset looked so peaceful. Ah!
Wow, didn't expect such strong pipes from a tiny body.
Creepy much? I turned to leave, but suddenly that guy grabbed my ponytail and pulled out my hair tie. I was gonna teach this jerk a lesson, but he somehow dodged every blow. Stand still so I could hit you. Give me a kiss, then I'll give it back. You wish? What a psycho! But somehow, now I and this psycho became friends, and we even got closer and closer after seeing each other every day at school. I realized Kai wasn't as annoying as I thought, and even grew sympathy for him when I learned that he also lost his mother when he was little. As his father was busy running his business, Kai was always unhappy and lonely. Now that he had my company, he cheered me up whenever I was sad, and frustrated about not getting better at pottery. However, Cody didn't seem too pleased with this. He appeared out of nowhere and dragged me away. Faye, that guy is a notorious lady killer. Stay away from him. He seems like just a regular dude to me. Okay, to tell you the truth, that guy is from the Wen family, our lifelong nemesis. If your dad knew about this, you're done. I'm a bit concerned, but life isn't a revenge drama. No one can stop me from seeing someone because of some familial feud. Still, I guess I should be careful. Hey, what you hiding? Faye likes a free spirit. A boring guy only plays with clay all day. No chance. Well, I think an innocent girl like Faye needs a calm, mature, and collected guy, not some free-spirited, spoiled rich boy who only knows how to spend his parents' money. Every time this happened, I had to throw myself in between them and push them apart. One day, my stepmom caught me coming home after going out with Kai. I panicked and didn't know how to explain, but don't worry. Your secret's safe with me. You're stressed out enough. Then she called me in for a deep talk. She apologized for not giving me enough care and kindly asked if I had any difficulties since returning home. Actually, I like pottery, but I haven't improved no matter how hard I worked. The responsibility on my shoulders is so big that it pulls me down. I tried to put up a smile, but there were times that I felt suffocated. Don't push yourself too hard. If it's all too much, take a break and go back to America for a while. A healthy mind comes first and foremost. I'm so lucky to have an understanding stepmother. As soon as she left, Cody stepped out. I didn't know you were under so much pressure. Don't worry, there are other ways to help your family besides making good pottery. You're smart. I know you can do it. So, I started to practice performing tricks with ceramic vases, then set up a TikTok account to upload videos of my performances. They went viral in only a few weeks, gathering millions of views and propelled the pottery shop to fame. And with that, the number of orders grew rapidly. The national pottery competition was coming. My dad excitedly announced that it was a huge opportunity for our family. Our core team worked day and night to create a unique design that would make an impact. The big day finally arrived, and I was tasked with carrying the vase to the exhibition area. I was so excited to be there, but a stranger suddenly bumped into me, leaving me in shock for a few seconds. Oh my god, the vase! Panicked, I hurriedly checked, and luckily, it's okay. Whew, that was close. The competition officially began. I checked out the other displays. They all looked splendid, but the Wen's family vase literally shocked me to my core. It looked exactly like ours. I went straight there to confront them. This is clearly my family's design. You shameless thieves!
Watch your mouth, little girl. And you, keep an eye on your daughter. Don't let her bring shame to your family. Don't tell me how to raise my child. And the vase? The thief will soon be exposed. Come on, Faye.
I knew the design can be copied, but not the material. It's made with our family's secret technique. We had a special substance that made ceramics more durable. Now we just need a little luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner impressed us with its one-of-a-kind design and outstanding quality. The first prize goes to Wen family! However, we also found out one team's product is made with substandard material and under-fired. The judges also suspect them of plagiarizing the Wen's design. We can't accept such disrespect to the craft. Lee family, you're disqualified from this competition.
Before we could recover from the shock, the news already spread like wildfire. Kai tried to explain that he had nothing to do with this, but I didn't want anything to do with him anymore. The Wen family must have made a copy of our vase and swapped it with ours. But when? It's with me the whole time. It could only be... Our business took a nosedive. Orders were canceled, most staff quit, and worse still, everyone here suspected that I swapped the vases since some of them saw me with Kai. My dad didn't take that news so well. He had a stroke and was hospitalized ASAP. No, I had to find out the truth, no matter what. Only 3 people knew the design: Dad, Cody, and me. Right, Cody would know what to do now. Unfortunately, he took some days off to take care of his sick mom, so I decided to come to him again. He'd gone shopping, so his mom welcomed me. Thank you for giving my son a chance and paying him handsomely. Without the money, I might not even be here anymore. Money? What money? My son spent sleepless nights for months to complete your vase. Isn't that why you paid him that well? What? We'd never made Cody work overtime. What money is she talking about? Right then, Cody got home. I immediately confronted him. He denied everything at first, but then he had to give in. Who hired you? Really, I don't know. They texted me from a blocked number, then wire transferred me the money. Faye, my mom's really sick and I had no choice. I never expect such terrible consequences. I'm so sorry, Faye. I ran away ASAP. I can't hear another word. The saddest thing about betrayal is that it never comes from your enemy. When I got home, my stepmom was cooking. Oh my, you look pale. Poor sweetie. I couldn't help but leaped into her arms and burst into tears. She tried to calm me down before bringing Dad his food. I know I cannot be weak anymore. I'll find out who's behind all this, whatever it takes. I rummaged through the workshop until late, only to find nothing. Exhausted, I went to sit by the gate for some fresh air, and suddenly saw something in the bush. An envelope! Looks fishy. To not leave any trace, I opened it with steam instead of tearing. It's a Chinese poem, and had the same style as the one I found the other day. By reading the first letter in each line, I got this message. Yo, Chang, Jian, Mian. Meet at the oil factory, it is. The message coded in the other poem also referred to a place. It's gotta be a sketchy meeting to have its spot written in code like that. I quickly put the letter back and searched for the only oil factory in town, then followed the address to an abandoned factory. I ran straight inside, but it was totally empty. Was I wrong? I felt defeated and was about to leave when I suddenly heard a voice from the second floor. I crept up and saw Kai's father with a gang wearing black, and our 12 stolen vases! Right then, a hand patted on my shoulder. What you doing? I turned around to see a creepy face, then pitch black. I opened my eyes with a splitting headache, and my hands all tied up. Who's this? My stepmother, who's arm in arm with Kai's father? Already awake? You're on their side? My father didn't mistreat you. This is how you return the favor?
I've had enough of your old man, a tyrant and self-proclaimed smart man. I deserve someone who loves and pampers me, like Mr. Wen here.
If your father had been truly smart, he would have realized long ago that he had nurtured a serpent in his bosom. That Cody boy.
Just wait and see. I will expose your scheming. Ha! In your dream? I already bought a plane ticket back to America. Be prepared to be welcomed by another orphanage. I even wrote your old man a touching welfare letter. He'll definitely have another stroke once he reads it. The secret letter has exposed you, and other evidence will soon be found. You can't get away with this. Do you mean this, feisty girl? In fact, what letter? Just then, the wind blew and swept the burning letter to some old oil containers at the corner, setting it aflame. The fire spread with lightning speed. They all ran for their life, leaving me behind. The smoke was thick, stinging my eyes. I was about to faint when Cody kicked the door open, dashed in, and untied me, while Kai covered me with his jacket. You? There's no time! Run! Then quickly carried me away from the fire. When we got to safety, the entire factory exploded. Okay, can you two explain everything now?
I felt guilty about the pottery competition, so I secretly followed my father to find out the truth for you. I came to your house to apologize, but saw you rushing somewhere looking worried. That's why I decided to follow you, and I can't believe that the person hiring me is your stepmother.
Me neither. Anyway, thanks. But I'm still mad at you.
Are you okay now?
I'm fine. I'm not sure about them, though. Animators, please replay the previous scene. Yep, I managed to record everything. With this priceless evidence, of course my so-called stepmother and Wen had to plead guilty and go to prison. My father was discharged from the hospital, and our 12 ceramic vases were returned. Now that our family's name's cleared, business is booming. After this incident, I learned to cherish our pottery workshop more. Determined to continue my family business, I started learning pottery properly to prepare for next year's competition. Root for me, peeps! And, of course, I still have these two guys by my side. Only it looks like they no longer want to just be friends with me. What should I do? Please help me by commenting down below if you're #Team Kai or #Team Cody.
I was at the fish market busy selling some crabs to a customer when I turned around and saw this guy stealing our fish. He quickly ran away. I grabbed a stone, aiming it at the thief, but suddenly a guy appeared and it hit him instead. Hey, what was that? Let go of me! Shouldn't you at least apologize? I looked over and the thief was nowhere to be found. The thief's escaped! You should apologize! But the guy just frowned and huffed off. Hi, I'm Serena, and I was brought up here, in this picturesque fishing town. When I was little, I lost Mom and Dad to the sea, so Grandma raised me. We couldn't afford school for me. Instead, I helped Grandma sell fish at the market to make ends meet. But things weren't always easy. Serena, you all right? Yes, I just wish people wouldn't steal. I know. Hopefully it was an extra stinky fish that will give them a tummy ache. That's Edward, my best friend since childhood. Edward's parents are also fishermen, so we naturally bond together and grew up inseparable. Later, Edward and I were busy closing when I heard murmurs and saw Mr. Elbridge, the fishing enforcement officer.
Anyone caught poaching striped bass will be given a hefty fine.
What? You gotta be kidding me! Sir, it's only considered poaching if they were caught out of season, which they're not.
Oh, really? Do you have the legal documentation to overpower my decision? Nope. Thought as much.
He's obviously abusing his power. At home, I told Grandma everything that had happened at the fish market.
I know it's not fair, sweetie, but maybe one day you could study, become an amazing lawyer, and help the local fishermen. I want to help. I can tutor you if you'd like.
That's brilliant! Since then, Edward stayed true to his word and tutored me. He was smart, kind, and so patient in explaining things to me. Time flies, and by the time I turned 13, I had the biggest crush on Edward, but I had no clue how he felt about me.
I'll wash up. In the future, I'll always share the housework with you.
What does he mean by that? Does he also have feelings for me? The next day, when Edward and I were having ice cream, some kids came in and started making fun of me.
Do you know eating too much ice cream makes you fat? Oh, of course you don't, because you don't go to school. Ha. She doesn't need to. She's still far smarter than you'll ever be.
Why did you always stick up for me? Is it because you think of me as a
little sister?
I need to stop daydreaming. He doesn't have those kinds of feelings for me. Then, when I turned 17, something terrible happened. Grandma fell so sick that she passed away. At the funeral, I felt so alone with all the adults around, and Edward was nowhere to be seen. When everything was settled, Uncle Leon said he'd take me to live with his family in the city. I had to tell Edward, but when I got to his house, it was all locked up. So I quickly slid a note with my uncle's address under his door, then left for the city. As soon as we walked into the mansion, Aunt Clara and Rachel were already there, frowning.
Ugh, can you smell rotting fish?
Ew, get yourself some perfume, please.
Enough! You will make Serena feel welcome here. Please prepare a nice room and everything Serena needs.
Uh-oh, not a good start. But then Uncle Leon had to go away for a business trip and asked Aunt Clara to find me a tutor, as he was afraid going to school might be a shock for me. I was so excited to finally study and pursue my lawyer dream. However, all the tutors Aunt Clara found were terrible. I actually had to teach them simple sums. Meanwhile, Aunt Clara showered me with errands to run. Suddenly, I saw a blur of a dog and boy and smash! You idiot! How am I meant to cycle home with an injured knee?
You're hearing this, Rex? How is she gonna cycle back home? Sorry, I'll take you home.
I accepted his offer, mainly because I didn't exactly have much choice. What's your number?
Wow, that was quick.
Stop daydreaming. I need it in case I decide to sue you. The guy, Henry, finally quit fooling around and gave me his number. When we got to the mansion, I caught sight of a familiar figure. Edward! I limped over and looped my arms around him.
Who are you?
Before I could respond, Henry shrugged his shoulders, then left. Edward then told me all about the tragic events that had happened to him.
My father made a bad decision to go dynamite fishing. The Coast Guard caught him, but as he tried to run away, his boat smashed into a reef. We needed to move to the city for his treatment. Luckily, I got a scholarship into college here, so I can study and also care for Dad. I'm so sorry it's taken me this long to find you.
That's okay, I understand. It all sounds terrible.
What about you? So you live in that big mansion now? Is that guy your boyfriend?
Henry? Oh, no. He's just...
Good, because, well, I wanted to tell you that I missed you, and I love you, Serena.
But you said I'm just a sister to you.
I was 13. I didn't understand my feelings back then, but I do now. Serena, not having you by my side felt so empty. Will you be my girlfriend?
We started dating, and having Edward by my side felt so great. I was complaining about my terrible tutors when Edward suggested he become my tutor instead. That's a great idea. You'll need to prepare an atrocious CV for my aunt to hire you. And it worked.
I don't expect you to get very far with this one. She is rather dumb. What's the deal with you two?
She doesn't like having me here. Halfway through the lesson, Edward got a call from the hospital asking him to pay his dad's bills ASAP before his condition worsened. I was comforting him when Rachel barged in. Serena, go get me some ice.
Oh, hello there.
Get out!
Who's that?
Rachel, my cousin. Edward seemed distracted after that. I guess he was upset about his dad. He told me to continue with my worksheet and went to the bathroom. I finished the work, but Edward still hadn't returned. Was he lost in this massive house or something? I went to look for him and was shocked to see him and Rachel happily laughing together.
Hi, Serena. I was just getting some water.
I ignored Edward and continued studying by myself.
Are you jealous? I was just being polite.
Darn it, he knew I couldn't be mad at him when he smiled at me like that. But as we continued studying, I couldn't fully shake away my uneasy feeling. But the next day, I was waiting to study with Edward when...
Edward won't be coming today.
What? I asked her why, but she just walked off. As she left, I heard her ask the maid to bring fruits to Rachel and her new tutor. Huh? Since when did Rachel have a tutor? Sensing something was up, I sneaked over to Rachel's room and spotted... Edward?
Serena, what are you doing over here?
Oh, is stalking your new hobby now? I looked at Edward, but he just sat still, so I ran off with blurry eyes and an aching heart. Edward tried to call me, but I just ignored it. That night, he texted me and insisted on waiting for me. I wanted to hear him out, but I was still so angry at him.
Serena, please. Your aunt told me I couldn't tutor you anymore and asked me to be Rachel's tutor instead. I need the money for my dad's treatment. I can't turn this amount of money down.
Ugh, my aunt was such a witch!
I'm so sorry. I would much rather be tutoring you. You're the only girl for me, but I can't lose this job. So let's keep our relationship a secret, okay?
This was no big deal, right? It was me he wanted, not Rachel. Edward's birthday soon arrived, and we have a date at this restaurant today. I was excited when my phone buzzed.
Sorry, babe, something's come up. Can't make it. X.
It must have been something super important for him to cancel like that. But on my way home, I passed another restaurant and couldn't believe my eyes. Edward and Rachel were sitting together. Rage swarmed over me, and before I could stop myself, I charged in there. Edward, how could you? Jeez, what's up with you? He's not even your tutor anymore. Ask him how long he's known me for.
I was just your tutor, that's all.
I couldn't believe this, so I stormed off. I felt like such a fool for ever believing his lies. While running in tears, I bumped straight into Henry.
You look like you just got dumped.
It was the straw that broke the camel's back, so I started crying louder.
It's not me. I didn't do anything. Please stop crying. Anything you want, anything. How about the aquarium?
It turns out the aquarium was just what I needed. Watching the fish was so relaxing, and Henry was surprisingly a lot of fun to be around. Your parents must be super easygoing to put up with you.
Nope, my lawyer mom is way opposite.
Oh wow, that's cool. It's my dream to be a lawyer.
Is that so? My school's interviewing for a law foundation course. You should apply.
A law foundation course, huh? Should I give it a try? I arrived home feeling better, but Aunt Clara wouldn't leave me alone with her usual mocking routines.
You spoiled ingrate! Soon you'll be 18 and I can rid my hands of you.
I had enough. So I decided to apply for the foundation program Henry mentioned. It was time to focus on my dream without any further distractions. I studied hard and went to the library for materials. Henry offered to help, and even though I still found him childish sometimes, he was actually quite smart and knew loads about the law. One time, Henry invited me to come watch his debate team. Only when I showed up and spoke to Henry, I saw Edward walk in.
My dad's ill, yet here you are, with him? Serena can go where she pleases.
It's okay, Henry. I got it.
Rachel's just my friend. I love you, not her. I just need to earn enough money. Then I'll end this mess with Rachel for good.
What he did was still hard to accept, but he was in a tough situation. I would be a terrible girlfriend if I didn't support him, right? Despite all this drama, I'd been studying hard, and now it was time for my interview. Only on my way there, I saw a woman yelling at two students.
Watch where you're going, you idiots!
Excuse me, but this is a pedestrian crossing, hence the driver's fault for not stopping.
How dare you speak the law to me, you little girl! Do you know who I am?
But as everyone started buzzing, she had no choice but to drive off.
What happened?
I explained it to him and pointed at the woman's car. He didn't say anything, but seemed quite surprised. We then went to the interview, but when I told the assistant my name, she smiled and said, "You don't need to draw a number. Mrs. Shotton was impressed with your profile, so she wishes to interview you herself. It's best you follow the right procedure." I was a bit confused, but Henry knew better than me. Anyway, I had my interview with someone else, and I passed. Yay! Since then, I studied hard, and Henry helped me a lot. On my first oral exam, he even came along to encourage me. Only, as soon as I stepped into the room, I saw that rude woman standing there. Hang on, she's the judge! Nerves wriggled at me, but I kept calm and nailed the exam. But afterward, she charged over to me.
"Don't expect a pass from me, you manipulative girl, seducing my son to get into this college."
Huh? Her son? Who?
Mom, you can't do that. The exam's recorded. They'll see you're just being prejudiced. I insist you cut ties with this schemer at once. She humiliated me in front of a crowd and tried to smudge my impeccable reputation. No, she didn't. She was just telling the truth. Oh, and that day, I purposely called her in for an interview, but turned out you intervened. And ever since then, this snake was following you everywhere. So end it at once or leave.
So this woman is Miss Shotton? And worse still, she's Henry's mom? Suddenly, Henry grabbed my hand and led me out of there.
How dare you! You're ungrateful and spoiled! I only adopted you so I had someone to look after me in my old age. But you know what? You'll never be my son! Don't forget to take your meds twice a day.
Seeing him talk back to his mother just to defend me, I couldn't help but ask, "Henry, why did you help me so much?"
It's because Mom was in the wrong, and seeing you getting pushed around hurts me a lot.
Why, Henry?
'Cause I like you a lot. Let me be there for you.
Henry, your mom shouldn't have spoken to you like that. But she was only angry because she cares about you. You should talk to her. I really hope things will turn out fine between them. Henry dropped me home, and now all I could think about was his love confession. To be honest, I do have feelings for Henry. But what about Edward? What about our years spent together? Suddenly, I got a text from Edward asking to meet up. I guess it was time to sort this out. While waiting for Edward to order ice cream, I got a message from Henry saying he was coming to my place for some great news. I asked him to come pick me up instead.
This reminds me of our fishing village in summer and getting ice creams at the end of a sweltering day. I love you, Serena. I always cherish our memories together every day.
Edward, actually, this isn't working. I think we should stop seeing each other.
What? Why?
I soon realized that something was wrong with our relationship. I just didn't have the courage to face it. We had a special friendship that I cherished and nurtured, but now I think it's time for me to accept the truth that we're not meant for each other. Bye, Edward. I wish you the best with Rachel. As I stepped out of there, I saw Henry waiting for me, and I instantly felt better.
I made up with my mom. She apologized for what she said in her temper, and told me that I would always be her real son.
Henry, that's brilliant news! Right then, I got a message from Miss Shotton.
Serena, I apologized for my behavior. I am most pleased Henry is getting to know such a righteous lawyer in the making.
It looks like everything's falling into place. I arrived home, not expecting to see Rachel in a fit of tears. Mom, make her leave! This is all her fault!
How dare you bewitch Edward! He's quit tutoring Rachel, and now my poor Rachel is distraught. I will keep on hiring you awful tutors and see how long it takes until you break. Is that so?
So Uncle Leon stopped Rachel's allowance and took Aunt Clara's credit cards off her. He also made them apologize to me. I told him about my foundation placement, and he was so happy for me and offered to rent me an apartment near the college. It's time to live my dream. Now I just had one thing left to do. Take Henry to visit my hometown with me.
This place looks familiar to me. I know, I think I came here as a child. Yes, this weird little girl threw a stone at me and then got mad.
I suddenly realized Henry was that tourist guy I met when I was 10. Yep, that would be me. Henry seemed surprised, then suddenly pulled me in.
I guess some things are just meant to be.
Now would you look at this girl, owning the stage, slaying all the performances. Guess what? That's me. I'm Rita, a talented beauty just like my mom, Demi Grande, the famous singer. Alongside being a dazzling diva, Mom also works as a vocal trainer at my school, the Gloria Rowley Arts Academy. Having the best teachers here to help me perfect all my skills sounds amazing, right? I excel at everything I do, being an MC, dancing, acting, mastering the piano. But still, I knew that none of these would really satisfy my mom. 'Cause there is one not-so-tuneful problem. I'm tone deaf. At 7, once after I sang my little heart out in a vocal class, the teacher asked my mom when she came to pick me up, Oh, so Rena is really your daughter. What a shame she didn't inherit your voice. She's so off-key, we all had to cover our ears. But besides singing, I can still shine on stage in other ways. For example, being an MC at my mom's new album pre-listening party. Everything was going smoothly, right up until track number 6, when the speakers and screen glitched out. Being the professional I am, I kept the crowd entertained with my charisma and dance moves.
Rena, sing us a song too, please!
Suddenly, the rest of the audience were nodding in agreement. I hesitated, but then decided to go with it. Just a short one. Can't be that bad. 'Cause I'm in the stars tonight. So watch me bring the fire, set the night alight. The audience started laughing. Oh no, if only Harry Potter could lend me his invisibility cloak right now. Please help! Suddenly,
Hey, everyone! Sorry for the technical issues. It seems to have affected the sound system also, causing voices distortion. So, not letting you all wait any longer, how about we do an acoustic performance for this next song, in which Ariana and I had the honor to feature with Miss Demi Grande. I assure you won't be able to get this experience anywhere else.
the crowd cheers so loud. They must have forgotten about my disastrous performance. Thank God! Everyone was surely enjoying this. I mean, who could blame them? Look at him. My savior. Not Harry Potter, but Brian Willis, the best singer from the vocal department of our academy. At the end of the show, I rushed over to get a photo with Mom, but it seems she was busy. I guess I'd see her at home. That evening, I was in my room looking at video clips from the party when a video of me singing popped up. I scrolled through the comments. So, Demi's beautiful voice was defo not inherited.
She can dance and act, but she sure can't sing.
Huh? It wouldn't make more sense if Ariana was Demi's daughter. Just then, Mom came in to thank me for the successful event and saw me disheartened by those words.
It doesn't matter, Rena. Just enjoy your dancing or anything you like. Singing isn't for everyone.
I couldn't get her words out of my head. I was a daughter of a diva, yet I sounded like a frog. No way. They can sing, then this diva's daughter can sing too. So I booked myself in for some online singing lessons, then signed up as the opening solo singer for the Academy's annual concert. As long as I practice hard, then I'd make it, right? Just like how I honed my other skills. Mom saw me practicing and tried to help, but no matter how hard I tried, I always came in at the wrong beat, sang as if I was reading, whispered when it was too low, cracked my voice when it was too high, and screamed out the words.
Sweetie, why don't you prepare a dance instead? It's more of your thing. Leave the singing to our vocal department. Ariana will surely nail it.
Ugh! Ariana this, Ariana that. I'm your daughter, not her. I must be able to sing. I was looking at the list of registered candidates and feeling nervous. But Brian appeared beside me.
Oh, so you want to follow the singing path? If so, I'll always support you.
He handed me some materials for basic vocal training. I was thinking about how sweet he was when Ariana and her friends passed by. Oh, so both you and Brian are trying out for the opening solo? Nah, just me, obviously. How could Brian compete against his girl? Ariana is his girl? So Brian didn't like me at all. He was just being polite. Both him and Mom thought I was just a dud and Ariana was the headline act? So I practiced all day and night to prove them wrong. I also posted a short clip of my singing on the forum and said if people voted for me, I'd provide a mega performance full of singing and dancing. The next day, the school announced the top 2 tied opening solo candidates, Ariana and me. I was so excited. But then I heard the murmuring. You voted for her? For real? I just want to see how bad her voice can get.
Don't be so mean. She's Miss Grande's daughter. Of course my vote goes to her.
Suddenly, Enid, this usually timid girl, appeared and congratulated me. Don't listen to them, Rena. I believe only someone as well-rounded as you deserves to represent Gloria Rowley's Art Academy. Enid's kind words really gave me strength. Now I just had to keep on practicing. I'm so near to the goal now. That weekend was the final rehearsal before the selection round. I was extremely nervous, and this was the first for me to feel this bad on stage. I wasn't as comfortable and confident as I was MC or a dancer. I tremblingly sang, but all I could think of was my itchy throat. I couldn't hit the notes at all. Had I practiced the wrong techniques? No way. I followed all the instructions Brian gave me.
If you don't really want to do it, don't push yourself.
I just feel a little under the weather today, so I didn't want to push it too hard. Don't worry, I've got a wonderful performance in store for everyone on D-Day. Oh, Brian, where have you been? We need to run over our duet one more time. Ariana again? She must be trying to pick a fight with me. I glumly looked around the auditorium and saw everyone from different departments busily preparing for their amazing performances. They were all passionately practicing. Meanwhile, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. How on earth could I save this performance? I was at my all-time low when Enid appeared next to me. Hey, do you want to team up? I have the vocals and you possess the greatest stage presence. Seeing my confused face, she continued, I've always admired you, and it's really sad to see you like this. We all just want a successful event for our academy, right? I've tried so hard. Everyone, especially my mother, is really looking forward to my performance. I cannot fail. So I agreed to let Enid help me lip sync for the audition. Just for once. I'll recover in time for the real concert anyway. The audition started off great. Enid was backstage singing, and turns out her voice is Taylor Swift level amazing. It's even more soulful than Ariana's. Seeing the crowd's stunned faces, I confidently gave the performance my best shot. But then I suddenly noticed the crowd's confused looks and realized something. Enid had stopped singing. Panicked, I turned on my mic to sing, but my voice came out as an off-key tremble. I sounded terrible, but I managed to finish the song and then rushed backstage. As soon as I stepped backstage, I saw my mom and some of the other students, including Brian and Ariana, gathered around Enid, who was sobbing, saying that her mic broke and that she didn't mean to let me down. Enid, what are you doing here? I can't, Ari. Please forgive me. I can't do it. Even though you're my sister, I can't. What are you talking about? Wait, you two are sisters? Oh, I see. So Ariana teamed up with Enid to sabotage me. I knew I wasn't Ariana's favorite person, but this was low, even for her. Now I was a laughingstock to everyone. It had been a horrible day, so I just wanted to curl up in my room and be left alone. Only, Mom knocked on my door. Sweetie, can we talk? I was too sad to answer, and Mom must have been mad at me, as she didn't try knocking again. I can't blame her. I would too if I was a mom. A tone-deaf daughter like me really embarrassed her. As expected, the next day at school, everyone was buzzing about 3 hot topics. The first one being my lip syncing. Rena can't even sing properly. Her performance was a joke. But she's truly a great dancer. She's better off focusing on that. The second, that they suspected Ariana of being the mastermind who set me up. And the last one was a surprise at how awesome Enid's voice was. That whole morning, I couldn't escape the gossiping. Worse still, clips of my lip syncing were posted online, and now the Academy had been accused of favoritizing a celeb's daughter over talent. I never meant for it to affect my mom and the school's reputation. I know I needed to try and fix this, so I decided to apologize in front of everyone during lunch break. It was my idea to lip sync, and I know it was dumb. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done it. But before my friends could reply, Enid spoke up. Rena, I didn't mean to blow the lip sync plan. Ariana begged me to, but I refused. It was a completely unintended incident. Please, drop the act. I never asked you to do that. I didn't record our convo because I trusted you. Because you're my sister. But come on, Ariana, you know what you said. Oh, you didn't record it? Then it's a good job I did. Ariana then pulled out her phone and played a video. Why were you lying about the lip syncing? Relax, you should be thanking me for helping you eliminate a rival. I gasped in shock, and so did everyone else. I never thought that sweet, timid Enid could secretly be so conniving. Enid couldn't play innocent anymore, so she broke down and told everything. Okay, I did it, but none of y'all understand what it's like having Ariana for a sister. I have a better voice, but I can't compete with her. She's beautiful and everyone loves her, while I'm always the black sheep. Not to mention my migraine medication made me put on these unlosable weights. So I felt too insecure to stand on stage. I just wanted Ariana to taste failure for once, to feel what I feel. So I used Rena to beat her, but the mic messed up, and I took my chance to put the blame on Ariana instead. Everyone was still trying to process all these shocking revelations when a boy stood up.
Voila! Everything is clear. It's just some selfish scheme of one person. GR Arts Academy is full of awesomely talented students. Stop the dumb rumors.
Turns out, that guy has been live streaming the whole thing. Now that the case was closed, both Mom and the Academy's credibility was restored. But this drama is still too much for me. I needed a breather. As I listened to the birds chirp around me, I began to feel calmer. But then I saw Ariana coming over. I'm sorry about my sister. It's true I'm a bit jealous of you, but I'm not that spiteful. Jealous? Of me? But you're pretty, have a superstar voice, and everyone in school loves you. How about you, huh? You're beautiful, multi-talented, you can MC, act, and dance. All I can do is sing. Okay, so turns out Ariana isn't as unapproachable as I thought she was? She's actually nice. Maybe I shouldn't have been so quick to judge her. Suddenly, Brian charged over to us with an alarmed look on his face. Calm down, Tiger. I'm not harming your girl. She's all yours now. Your girl?
Why are you here and not at home?
I'm not ready to face Mom just yet. She must hate having a tone-deaf daughter. Rena, you were wrong for lip-syncing, but it's not your fault that you can't sing. Singing isn't something mandatory for all human beings, is it? But
do you know how proud Miss Grande is of you? She always brags to us about your achievements and plays us your performance videos.
Brian's wise words made me feel a lot better. He was right. I shouldn't have lip-synced. I should have just embraced the things I'm actually good at and just been myself. After talking to Brian, I felt ready to go home and face Mom. Everyone expects me to sing as well as you. And I, too, honestly thought that if I kept practicing, I'd be able to. But the truth is, I'm just not a singer, and I never will be one. I know you're mad at me, but I can't be like Ariana. I'm so sorry.
Sweetie, I never want you to be anything other than you. I'm so proud of you, and I'm sorry if my actions ever came across differently to you. I wasn't mad at you, at all. I really just wanted to give you a hug last night, but I didn't hear anything from you and thought you might need some time on your own.
So, you're not upset that I'm not a singer?
Of course not, silly. I just want you to be happy and pursue whatever you love.
I'm glad Mom and I had cleared things up, but I couldn't stop thinking about Enid and why she did what she did. So that evening, I texted her. The lip sync was a bad call, but it made me realize that no one's good at everything. We all have our own strengths. Mine isn't singing, but yours is. Your voice is truly angelic, so don't let anything stop you from doing what you love. I'm glad we're okay now. You're right. Being a singer, Angel, doesn't require a stick figure. Thank you, and I'm sorry. I'm relieved that's all sorted. And Enid learned her lesson and now realizes just how amazing she is. I was anxiously waiting backstage for my performance. Luckily, I had Brian by my side to support me, even if he was fussing a bit too much. I'm only the backup dancer. Go check on Ariana. She's the star of the show. I'm not the one on his mind. You're his one and only priority. Hey, he even gave up his chance to sign up for opening performance for you. Huh? You really did that for me? Your priority? Since when?
Yes, since I saw you emceeing on the first day of school.
That's my dad, Marcus Baldwin, the world-famous jockey. Now he's the chairman of a super successful horse racing club. As his cherished only child, I was given everything I could ever dream of. But then, something big happened that changed things. Before I tell you more, don't forget to like and subscribe. At the age of 8, I was in the playroom brushing my doll's hair when Dad let this tatty-looking woman and her daughter in.
Audrey, I'd like you to meet Belinda and her mom. They're going to be staying here for a while and be our new maids.
Belinda looked so frightened. So, feeling bad for her, I took her hand and let her play with my dolls. We soon became the best of friends, and I even managed to persuade Dad to let her attend the same school as me. Unsurprisingly, I grew up obsessed with horses and dreamed of becoming a famous jockey like Dad. I practiced riding my horse, Jackal, every day after school, and we became quite the formidable team. Soon, I was winning a heap of junior contests, and even the newspapers predicted I'd be the next big name in the world of horse racing. This certainly helped my popularity at school, and I began a clique full of elite members. However, there was one slight problem. Due to Belinda's humble background, the other girls didn't get with her. Where did you get those shoes from? Your grandma? Did you let your grandma style your hair too? Come on, girls. Let's see if the canteen has any oat muffins left. Everything was practically perfect, and to put the cherry on top of the cake, I was invited to a gala event for talented young jockeys. I needed to look the part, so I got my driver to take me to the mall to find the most amazing outfit. But on the way, everything changed. I woke up in the hospital, wearing an ugly gown and feeling dizzy with confusion. Oh my, you're awake! Huh? Why am I here?
Sweetie, you were in a car accident. You've been in a coma for the last 2 years.
2 years? What? No way! That meant I'd missed out on 2 whole years of my life and was now 17! I missed my own sweet 16th! Once I got over the initial shock of being Sleeping Beauty, I made sure to ask the most important question. Is Jackal okay? Who won the Grand Youth Championship? After catching up with my parents, they told me something even more surprising.
Audrey, you've been very poorly, and we thought we were going to lose you. You needed a new kidney, but we weren't matches. But Belinda was, and she donated you hers.
We are so grateful to her that when her mom sadly passed away, we decided to adopt her. She's now your sister.
I was sad to hear about Belinda's mom, but grateful for what Belinda did for me. I'd always seen her as my sister anyway. Right after I got discharged from the hospital, I was excited to get back to school and resume my life. Only, it seemed the world had moved on without me. No one dressed like me anymore, and I was stuck in a class with 15-year-olds. I tried to interact with them, so when I saw the teacher pinning up a picture of an elderly man, I asked if this was her grandpa. The whole class fell silent for a second, then suddenly exploded with laughter.
It's the president, Audrey.
Ugh! How was I supposed to know? At lunchtime, when I went to join my old friends, I overheard them talking. 2021 called. It wants its tennis skirt back. What language is she speaking? Oh my god, Audrey is like an alien. She doesn't know anything. I mentioned the lucky girl syndrome trend, and she literally looked at me like a fish. Come on now, you know she can't help it. Let's go get some cheese fries. Anything you say, Belinda. Belinda was on my side, right? It kind of felt like she'd stepped right in and taken my place. At least my parents would be glad to have me home, right? Wrong. Mom was always shopping, attending yoga class and the spa, but she didn't ask me to go with her. Instead, she always asked Belinda. It felt like she'd forgotten that me, her real daughter, actually existed. Meanwhile, at the riding club, as I traipsed through the stables, I heard Dad talking to Belinda about an upcoming event.
I'm so lucky you're here to help promote this event. I'd be lost without you.
I no longer fit in at school, at home, or at the horse racing club. Life has changed around me, and I felt frozen in time. Worse still, I had to take this gross medicine. One time my maid was chasing me around the furniture trying to make me take it, but I used ornaments, cushions, and books to block the path. I was so distracted making my obstacle course that I bumped straight into Douglas Barron, my dad's business partner.
My, you certainly are a determined young lady.
Later that evening, Dad called me into his office. I thought he was going to grumble at me for not taking my meds, but instead he said something I wasn't expecting.
It seems that Douglas is rather impressed by you. He wants you to date his son, Damien. The firm's been under a lot of pressure recently, and having Douglas on side would be beneficial, especially as he's our biggest stakeholder.
What? You want me to date a stranger just to help your business? I can revive the business myself without having to do that. I just need to win the horse racing tournament.
No, it's too soon after the coma. You're not ready yet. Dating is the only way.
As if I was gonna listen to Dad. So I secretly came here with Belinda. I was about to saddle up Jackal, but then I got a whiff of horse manure and began to feel dizzy and nauseous. Dad suddenly showed up and took me to the hospital. Turns out, I'm allergic to horse manure. Ugh. Then Dad started yelling at me for training without his permission.
Thankfully, Belinda informed me what was going on and told me about your allergy.
Belinda? Why? Sorry, sis. I only told Dad as I'm worried about you. Whatever. I'm still going to horse race again.
Actually, there's physical therapy, and if you pass the agility test, you could still get back to training.
Dad, please.
Fine. Do the therapy, but only if you go on this date with Damien.
I agreed to go on the date, but I never said anything about being well-behaved on it. So in order to prepare for our special date, I watched this tutorial video. How to dress to attract men. A tutorial. Rule number 1, make sure your hair is long and never put up. Rule number 2, make sure to show a little skin, ladies. Rule number 3, footwear should be dainty and delicate. And ta-da! As I showed up at the restaurant looking ridiculous, I instantly recognized this quirky guy from school, Damien. So, I made sure I had the most unapproachable expression on my face. As soon as I sat down, I purposely ordered the weirdest food combo, ice cream hamburger. I was convinced he'd think I was a lunatic and leave, but instead, he reached over and tried a bite of my ice cream burger.
Interesting.
What? How could he like that? Someone please call the food police over here.
Your fashion sense is so refreshing. Everything about you is fascinating. I am rather smitten.
The rumors about him being quirky are definitely true. After the disastrous date with Damien, I met with Cooper, a medical student at the hospital who was helping me with my physical therapy. During the training, he was attentive and super encouraging. I was beginning to feel better, but then Damien showed up and insisted on staying there so he could check Cooper was doing his job properly. He wouldn't stop humming annoying tunes and munching on potato chips really loudly. Then at home afterward, he wouldn't leave and continued bugging me. When he finally left, I moaned to Belinda about how annoying he was. But to my surprise, she said she thought he was cute and funny? Hang on, does this mean Belinda likes Damien? On the day of the physical examination, I passed every single test without any mistakes. I was smiling as the doctor made his announcement.
Miss Baldwin, I'm afraid you failed the assessment.
I ran out of there and cried to myself. I felt someone sit next to me and was about to tell them to go away when I realized it was Cooper.
Audrey, the improvements you've made are impressive. I was sure you'd pass.
Seeing his caring face made me feel a little better. We talked some more and then he offered to drive me home. As we walked around the corner to the parking lot, we heard Belinda raising her voice with, "The doctor!" We stopped to listen. "I'm not giving you more money. I already paid you for failing Audrey. Sign this so I can be sure you'll keep this a secret." What? How could Belinda betray me like this? Belinda, why? Why did you do this? You don't understand how hard it is living in your shadow. I love the horse riding club, but you're coming back, and there'll be no use for me there anymore. You ruined everything! Then she stormed off, leaving me standing there stunned. I immediately got home and told Dad what she'd done. I expected him to be on my side, but
I'm sure you're overthinking the situation. Besides, you should be grateful to Belinda. Not only did she save your life, but now she has agreed to marry Damien to save the company.
Belinda was only doing this to steal my life. It wouldn't work. I was more determined than ever to go back into horse riding and claim back my life. Mine! Meanwhile, Cooper helped find another doctor to test me, and this time I passed. I showed my results to Dad, and he finally allowed me to go back to training. But when I brought up Belinda bribing the doctor again, he just remained quiet. Am I even his daughter anymore? Okay, change of plan then. I met up with Damien to ask about his marriage with Belinda. So, did you agree to the marriage?
No way! I don't want to marry whatever her name is.
Great! I mean, that's sad.
Well, my heart belongs to you.
How about we get payback on them and fake date? Just faking it though, if you don't mind.
Fake? Real? If it means being your boyfriend, then I'll do it!
So we immediately returned home, walked inside and linked arms and gave each other lovey-dovey looks. Belinda's scrunched up face was a picture. I resumed horse riding practice and got around my allergy problems by using sachets and spraying perfume all over myself. It worked at first, but then I started getting allergic to the sachets too. Cooper immediately took notice, and the next day he showed up with some homemade herbal sachets. Not only did they help cure my allergy, but they also had a calming effect on me. Without the allergy bothering me, I could focus on practicing, and soon I was back to my amazing former riding self again. I showcased my talents to the club and everyone seemed impressed.
A talent like you should be head of the club.
Yeah, I may not be a big talker like someone I know, but actions speak louder than words. Belinda was clearly jealous of my rise to success, so she pulled some mean pranks on me at school. One time she suddenly turned nice and offered me a coffee, but it turned out she had snuck hot sauce in it. I was so mad. I changed her ringtone to fart sounds and called her number. It was hilarious! But then she suddenly fainted and was taken to the school infirmary. Oh, come on. She was so hurt she fainted. I told the other students she was faking it, but instead of listening to me, they all took Belinda's side. You're so ungrateful. Belinda even gave you her kidney, yet you scared her so much she fainted? Yeah, you wouldn't be here today without her. What kind of person are you? Feeling deflated and not listened to, I ran off. I stormed home, and on the way, bumped into Cooper. Unable to hold my emotions anymore, I burst into tears. He insisted we went for a walk, and I ended up spilling out everything to him.
I don't condone what Belinda did, but I kinda see it from her perspective. She's an orphan who longs for a family. She finally found her place in the world, and then you woke up and became a threat.
I never thought of it like that before. I realized the best thing I could do was to stop the pointless revenge and put all my energy into my recovery. I stopped hanging around with my clique, then broke up with Damien. I trained hard at the club, but not for my dad or the company, but for myself. Belinda showed up and tried provoking me, but I just ignored her. All my hard work paid off, and I qualified for the tournament. At the tournament, I was leading the race and felt unstoppable. But then some bees started buzzing around Jackal's face. He freaked out and started bucking. Then everything went dark. I woke up in hospital feeling drowsy and saw someone rummaging in my bed. Belinda, what are you doing? Then Cooper appeared.
Is this what you're after? I saw Belinda swap the sachets for pollen ones to attract the bees. I bet she also switched the ones before to worsen your allergies.
What did I do to deserve this? It's so easy for you, isn't it? Because of you, I've lost everything.
Belinda, how could you? Apologize to Audrey right now.
No, I won't. This is all your fault.
It's all my fault. Many years ago, I was in a relationship with Belinda's mom. We ended on amicable terms, but it was only in her final days that she told me the truth. Belinda is my daughter. I didn't want to upset anyone, so I kept it to myself. But then when you needed a kidney and Belinda ended up being a match, I used this as a reason to suggest adopting her. Then you woke up and we were so happy. I didn't realize how this had affected Belinda, or you, Audrey. Please forgive me. I want to put it right. Mom and me were so shocked, and Mom told him to go and find Belinda. After Dad left, Mom hugged me.
Sweetie, both you and Belinda deserve warmth and love. I promise things will be better from now on.
As I left the hospital the next day, I saw Belinda walking toward me. I'm so sorry. You've been nothing but good to me, and I was horrible. I was so worried about you when you were in the coma. But when you woke up, I got scared no one would want me anymore. I care about you, Audrey. You're my sister. I wrapped my arms around her. You've always been a sister to me, Belinda. But please, no more pranks. Then I saw Cooper walking over to me, holding a huge balloon. Looks like you have company.
I'm glad you both made up. Here, I got you this.
One day at school, while I was busy with my homework, suddenly a boy stormed in my place.
Hey, beauty, I get a dare. Would you mind giving me a kiss?
What? I very mind. Get off me! But he still leaned towards and trying to press his dry as the bark of a tree lips on mine. No way! All I gave him was a slap on the face to shake the last sense back to him.
Come on, it's just a truth or dare game. Don't need to overreact like that.
Yeah, that's right. Just give him a kiss, Cheryl. And don't act so highly. It's not every day that someone offers to kiss you. Gosh, these dudes might as well need to be taught a lesson then.
Hey, stop. It's a game to you, but not to her. And she has a right to act on her own will.
Huh? Andrew was defending me? What's wrong with him today? Who told you I need your help? Those boys really killed my mood today, that I couldn't focus on anything else. All of a sudden, I heard Green Day playing, and soon I lost my negative thoughts to the song and became completely absorbed in it. And you know who's the idiot that played it. The next day, Diana took me out for some retail therapy. Hey, about yesterday, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine now. Such a relief, Cheryl. But just a little reminder, please don't misunderstand that my boyfriend has something with you. He was just being kind, you know.
What?
Me? With your boyfriend? As if. Even if he's the last boy on the planet, I'd never like him. Really? That's all I want to hear. I get this, please. Sometimes I couldn't understand my friend. But what if he still had feelings for me? What am I thinking? Get yourself together, Cheryl. After a fun shopping day, we separated and I went home to see Mr. Hardy wearing apron doing something in the kitchen.
Ah, you're home. Juliana is in Paris for 2 weeks for some urgent business.
2 weeks? How was I supposed to live with just these two obnoxious people for the whole 2 weeks? But wait, Juliana is on a business trip? How strange. She's never done that kind of thing. Right that moment, I got a message saying she had to fly out to negotiate some deal for the cosmetics she was using. Well, that explained. Perhaps getting married made her become more mature, I guess.
Cheryl, go wash up. Dinner is waiting. I've prepared your favorite.
And the food Mr. Hardy cooked was surprisingly delicious. More strangely, over the next few days, I realized being with them wasn't a nightmare as I thought it would be. Mr. Hardy was an excellent cook and always tended to my favorite list. So to pay back, I volunteered to do the cleaning.
You're doing the dishes? Make sure you don't break any.
Let me save them. No need.
You do.
He's right. I couldn't finish it all by myself. We were working peacefully when I felt something cold on my cheek. He's splashing water on me. Angrily, I splashed him back. It was fun, except for how soaked our hairs and shirts were.
Gosh, how old are you both?
One day after dinner, Andrew asked me to go with him to the grocery store. Okay, fine, but I wouldn't carry any bags. Then we took a stroll around the neighborhood. The city at night with flickering lights did have some soothing effect.
Yours is chocolate, right? Can I take a bite?
Then he had like half of my ice cream.
Oops, sorry. You can have mine.
That's fine.
Seemed like our princess is in a good mood today. Normally you'd chase me all the way down the street.
That's true. I hate to admit, but since Andrew and his dad moved in, I found myself happier and more relaxed.
Hey, did I say something wrong?
And for some reason, my words naturally blurted out about how lonely I had felt in my own house. When my parents passed away, Juliana is my only family, but she's too drowned in her own flashy hobbies, sparing no time for me. Not until recently, she spent more time at home, which is good anyway.
I didn't know that, Cheryl. So we have more in common than I thought. Actually, my childhood wasn't as wonderful either. My mom and dad got divorced when I was 7. I just thought it's because they're not meant for each other, but turns out mom was having an affair which made Dad devastated and closed his heart to everyone until he met your aunt.
Poor Mr. Hardy and Andrew. My aunt actually had changed ever since she's been with Mr. Hardy too. Maybe they're the right ones for each other. We kept walking along the riverbank, and chatting with Andrew wasn't bad like I thought, or even good in some way. Suddenly, he tripped over something and fell on the ground. Gosh, you're bleeding! Sit here, I'm gonna buy some bandage. But I didn't manage to get too far before witnessing a scene I wish I didn't. A day after Juliana came back from the business trip, she immediately called for a family meeting and announced the unexpected.
Cheryl, Andrew, we have something to tell you both. Mr. Hardy and I decided our relationship has come to an end. What? Why so sudden? Dad?
Mr. Hardy didn't say anything, but seemed to not take it well either. Then Andrew turned to me for an explanation, but I just couldn't bear his look.
It's just, we realize we're not for each other. You'd better move out soon.
Empty and awkward atmosphere covered the room. The news hit us hard. Mr. Hardy kept silent until they were about to go.
You should cook for Cheryl more often. She likes stir-fry veggie.
Drop it! Stop acting like you understand me better than my aunt! Get out of my house now!
Take care, Cheryl.
They've gone out of our lives, just like I always wanted. But what is this aching feeling? Days after, at school, Andrew kept trying to talk to me, but I avoided him by all means, until once he took me surprise and pulled me to a corner.
Cheryl, tell me, why did they break up? You must have known something, right?
Didn't you listen to my aunt? They're just not made for each other.
You're hiding something.
Stop bothering me. We're not related anymore. I walked away as fast as possible. Seeing his face was the last thing I wanted now. Thank God Diana found me. I'm sorry for that, Cheryl. By the way, I dumped Andrew. Like father, like son. Better stay away from the mall. Yeah, it should have been that from the start. Things went peacefully for a week. Diana was always around, and soon my days were filled with her presence and care. I felt thankful to have a best friend like her around at this time. Then, one day, Andrew suddenly approached me in rage.
It's you, right?
What? Then he showed me the lipstick he found in his dad's bag, and some lip marks on his shirt as well. That's when he suspected Mr. Hardy was having an affair, causing the rift between him and Juliana.
But Dad said he would never do that, and I trusted him. What happened with Mom devastated Dad, so no way would he do the same thing with anyone else, which left you the only one who's behind this, right?
What? How is it here? Yes, it's me. It's me. So what?
But why did you have to do it?
Isn't it? The day after, I asked Diana to meet me in a cafe. Diana, my aunt and Mr. Hardy are getting back together. Can you believe? How could it be possible? One more thing. You forgot this at my place? Why did you do this, Diana? Is it just because you're afraid I would steal your Andrew? I told you I'd never steal my bestie's boyfriend.
What's going on here? Didn't we just fake date Diana?
Andrew? You guys just faked date? But why? Then he said that he just moved back here. He wanted to talk to me to untangle the misunderstanding in the past, in hopes everything would get cleared and we might get back together. But Diana approached him and suggested they fake date to see how I would react first.
I thought it's kind of a good idea, so I agreed.
Have you both lost your mind? Why did you suggest such a thing? It bugged me when seeing you living together, so I had to separate you again. Again? What does this mean?
It's not the first time you did this, right?
I couldn't bear seeing you together because I like you, Cheryl, for a long time now. So back years ago when you became Andrew's girlfriend for some stupid game, I tried to end it as soon as possible. Turns out, Diana paid the boys to fabricate the story of Andrew setting up the game to deceive me for money and intentionally let me hear their conversation. So that meant I wrongly accused Andrew. I trusted you as a best friend and share everything with you, even my insecurities. But you just use it as a means to satisfy your selfishness? I didn't mean it.
And now you're even willing to sabotage my family's happiness for your own needs. You've gone too far.
Diana was wrong, but not this time. Actually, Andrew, Diana wasn't the reason why your dad and my aunt broke up. It's me.
No, it's her who put the lipstick on my dad's bag, remember?
It's true, but my aunt never found this lipstick. Ironically, your dad was supposed to be accused of having an affair, but in fact, my aunt was the one who really did. You remember the night we went to the grocery store? I was looking for a pharmacy, but happened to see my aunt hands in hand with another man. Why is your Paris business trip involved having a fling with another man? Do I have to remind you that Mr. Hardy and you are getting married? Don't you love him?
Cheryl, I love him dearly. I don't know what's gotten into me. I'm sorry.
Say it to Mr. Hardy. That's when I know my aunt wasn't faithful to your dad, so I forced her to break up with Mr. Hardy immediately.
Why keep it from us?
I know your dad and you wouldn't take this well after what happened with your mom, so I didn't want to rub the old scars. I'm sorry, Andrew. I went home to see Juliana with her suitcases.
Cheryl, you're home. Sit here. I want to talk to you. There's something I wasn't honest with you, Cheryl. Then she admitted that there's actually no gold diggers trying to deceive her. It's her who put all of the relationships in ruin, as she quickly got bored with them and quickly turned into another guy when still in a relationship.
I lied because I don't want you to think ill of me, but I didn't expect it would make you hold a negative opinion on boys. Trust me, Pumpkins. One day you'll definitely find a boy who loves you truly. Then hold him dearly, will you? Don't be like me, lapsed up into old ways and ended up losing an incredible man. I'm glad you learned that. And now I have to go. I was asked to take care of you until you're 18. And hell, you are now. I believe my pumpkin can live on her own feet from now. Bye. I hope you could lead your independent life too, Auntie. Now, all the truth was revealed, letting out the secret that was relieving after all. I was sitting on our favorite spot at school, but beside me wasn't Diana anymore. I got this letter from her in my locker this morning. Hi, Cheryl. I apologize again for my selfish acts. I should have known better that love cannot be forced, and I am also grateful to your big heart. I always cherish every moment shared with you. Though it's hard, I have to go now to find a way to heal myself. Take care, Cheryl. Diana. Kiss. My best wishes are with you, Diana.
Why the dumb face?
Without letting me crack a word, out of nowhere, Andrew snatched my earphones.
Green Day? You're too predictable, Cheryl.
Why are you here?
I saw you sitting alone, so I guess you might need a companion?
Yeah, Diana's moved to another city, you know.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
Andrew, I'm sorry for wrongly accusing you back then. I was too childish and impulsive. I should have listened to you first.
That's fine. Actually, I have something to tell you too. You know, when you said you're the one who broke up Dad and Juliana, I was really angry. But a part of me was kinda happy, because that would mean you didn't want us to be cousins. 'Cause I didn't want that either. I want more. Cheryl, would you be my girlfriend again?
Let's see. I might or might not want that. I'm kidding, of course. I'd love to, Andrew. Then he pulled me for the most magical kiss ever.
I forgot. Dad asked you to drop by for dinner tonight.
Did he? Yeah, I shouldn't miss that. I will ask him to make fried chicken burrito, baked ziti, Greek salad.
Isn't it too much?
I'm not finished.